Richards trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
You're listening to the Pod Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Cody.
What's not to love? Nope.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pod Street Bullies. My name's Derek.
To a great start.
I'm John. What's going on, everybody?
All right, we're joined as always. Not as always. Has it been a while since we've had a show with all four of us here?
I mean, this may be the first time in Q3 or Q4 that it's actually happened.
Listen to this guy. This is the third quarter, and Matt Casey, everybody.
Hey, happy holidays. We're hammered for the holidays, baby. Let's do it.
Holiday.
Hammered on tea. All right. And Hoagie.
What's going on, boys?
And we have
What
good
do you
bit to
mean
get
We're
through.
hammered for the holidays, and Derek's
Man.
drinking tea. Have a pink mug.
You know
What's
how
your
long
favorite
it's
Christmas
been?
song?
No,
No?
I disagree.
You don't have a favorite Christmas song?
I thought you said we should sing a Christmas song, and I put my foot down here. Absolutely not. Yeah. Anyways, good bit of stuff to get through. I can see that our
Mine is
live
Baby, It's
viewers
Cold
are
Outside.
dwindling right now.
Oh, is it really, baby? It's cold outside. That song, I hate
It's
that.
a great song.
What song
Such
do
a
you like?
I
misogynistic.
want a hippopotamus.
Oh,
No, dude. No, my
I heard
kids-
that last night and I wanted to shoot myself. Like,
I want to
who
get
thought that
on
was a
with
good
the
idea to
show.
write that as a
That
song?
one, and then Feliz Navidad. It's like,
Uh-oh.
wow,
Nope.
way to branch out of the lyrics on that one. Like, there's two lines of the whole song.
I mean, it's a Christmas song.
Sure, yeah. Well, you can make anything a Christmas song these days. But regardless, we want to get into how this past week has gone. We want to get into some goalie talk. The goalie talk is going to probably take up a good bit of this conversation today because, let's be honest, we got two goalies who are playing pretty well. I think it's high time we dissect that and talk about the future of the net in Philadelphia. But starting off, as we always do, going back through the slate of games here, the Flyers this past week went 2-0-1, continued their point streak, which we'll get into as well. But standouts from this past week, John, tell me a little bit about what stood out to you over those three games.
I mean, it's not just these past three games. It's like we are.
Well,
It's past 8 games. I don't know what it is. It's like
the point streak, yeah,
We're
but
in
like
it.
we covered the
We're
other
competitive.
5 before.
No,
So
okay, but I mean, to me, it's just a continuation. Like this team is playing like a good hockey team.
Mhm.
We're never out of it, right? We are giving every single team we play a run for their money, and we're coming out on top more times than not.
Mhm.
You know, I think like even last night's game, right? Yeah, we only were able to score 1 goal, but we did whatever we needed to do to make sure they didn't score any.
right?
You know, so just everything is working for this team right now. I don't want it to end. I'm nervous for that time when it does end because I think it's really too good to be true right now, but just everything seems to be clicking. We're playing well, they're bought in, they're never giving up. I'm psyched.
How about you, Matt Casey?
You know, I'll play off of John's last comment there. I'm psyched. How long? I mean, we've been doing this at least Hoagie and I for 2 years,
Yeah,
2.5 years,
4
something?
for us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
4 for you guys. But like,
Right.
we haven't had a lot of like times where we're like, wow, we are excited to talk about the Flyers. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is like there is an excitement about the team, which comes with winning. But I think it's also just the manner in which we are winning. We don't have Carter Hart or Urson totally stealing games. Yes, they're playing great. And don't get me wrong. I don't think we win games with with most other goalies, but you see a full team effort. They're not making 42 saves out there, totally out goalieing a team. And so you're seeing just the structure, and to quote the great Morpheus from Matrix, that we're beginning to believe. And I think like you can see the team's confidence just get in there. And even with Travis Sanheim going down, okay, cool. You have Rasmus Ristolainen like playing like a badass last night.
Right.
And I think it's just excitement. And the one the Flyers tweeted out a photo of Jonesy and what's the president's name?
It was Hilferty and
Hilferty.
Doing the old Ed Snyder down in the locker room, shaking hands after the game. And it's like little stuff like that. It's like, okay, there's a little bit of buzz around here. We'll see it. I think we're all kind of waiting for like, okay, this is going to end. And if we have one bad week, we're down to the bottom of the standings, theoretically.
Because it's so close.
Yeah.
But you know what? Freaking enjoy it.
Right.
It's enjoyable.
Right. I think that's the biggest message to take away from all of this is like expectations from the beginning of the year were not great. And then all of a sudden, here we are sitting tied for second. Last time I checked in the Metro, a good division.
Now. Yeah.
We're second. We got a point up on the Islanders.
That's right. With the Detroit win. That's correct. So enjoy it. Like, I mean, we weren't supposed to be here. The Flyers were not supposed to be this good, and we are. And it's great. I love it. The people that are like, they need to lose to Tank should shut the hell up. Enjoy this.
Terrible.
Right. It's like these guys aren't going to go out there and purposely throw these games. Just enjoy the wins, enjoy the good play, watching these kids develop. Before I go on any further, Hoagie, your observations from these past couple games.
I mean, you've all hit it on the head. Like, there's belief in the team, there's belief in each other, and they're trying to prove everyone wrong. The writers, the rest of the league, the fans, like, hey, we're here and we're here to play. The two wins that really kind of stood out to me that makes me feel like they're actually legit, like a legit team and going to be playing real good hockey come February, March, was the 4-3 shootout win against Pittsburgh, because we came from behind and won the game. We hadn't done that up until that point. And then a week after, when we kind of routed the Avalanche 5-2, like that was like, holy smokes, we're kind of doing something here. We're like, we're not just taking it down like the bad teams. We're also playing up to the potential of like the really good, quote unquote, Stanley Cup contender teams that are year in and year out.
Well, I think it's all right. I think that the exciting thing for me too is like, I'm still skeptical whether or not this will be a playoff team, but at the same time, I do think this is a team that's playing a way they can win in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This isn't some high octane run and gun offense. Like, this is a team that's not afraid to get dirty, right? Like, they're winning those tough battles against teams that are technically superior to them. So I do think like it is a brand of hockey that would translate to the playoffs well.
What I was gonna say is, how nice was it seeing Pittsburgh just crushed last night? Like 7-0. Oh,
the average age of that team is like 40.
You're watching. You're watching the Hindenburg in real time here.
How glorious is it going to be?
And I love it.
Right. I mean, and kind of harping on your point a little bit there, John. Like the past couple of years, ever since Tortorella came in, the whole MO has been make this team harder to play against, and that's come to fruition. Like, you're looking at a team that is incredibly tough to play against. Tough fourth line. You've got guys that are grinders. You've got great defensive forwards as well in terms of Couturier. Now, Cates has had his on and off nights, understood.
He's out. Yeah, he's out.
That's correct. Yeah. But even before then, I mean, now that kind of makes sense. Things add up. He wasn't himself, it seemed like, and it's probably because he was hurt. But again, these younger guys are stepping into their roles. They're doing really well. It's great to see this all start to mold and take shape. Now, there's still a long ways to go. And the one thing I wanted to ask you guys before we kind of get to our next point, a little bit off the cuff, but in terms of Danny Briere, is he squirming a little bit right now? I mean, we kind of touched about it last week, I believe, or the week before, in regards to like, I wouldn't want to be this guy, but is he starting to squirm a little bit, thinking maybe, okay, should I make some moves to try to bolster this team right now?
I don't think that he has any interest in making one of those like rental deals, right? Or
Right.
anything where it's like we're gonna make a run for this. I mean, I think what was it last Saturday against Arizona or was it Colorado? I can't remember which game he was on the broadcast in the beginning with Jackson and Boucher, and he said like we're staying the course here. I think that the
Right.
tough thing will be like, who am I trading away now? Like originally you probably signed all these 1-year deals going, I'm going to try to get some assets for these people, but it's like, now are you doing that? Are you trading away a Nick Sealer? And I think like if you're blown out of the water, maybe you still consider that. But right now it's more like of a stand pat kind of mentality.
Right.
Yeah,
The one
yeah.
thing that stood out to me was the report from Frege saying that teams are looking at Sealer and Walker as a package deal. Like that raises kind of a red flag for me, just because it's like, how thin are we on the blue line? Who's going to plug in? And if so, I mean, to me at least, I'd be looking to get a blue liner back who either A, has an expiring contract, or B, could potentially be a piece. But we already have that in Walker, in my opinion.
Yeah, I Danny's not gonna to jump the gun and trade assets. What I think he will do is, at the very least, keep this core of the team intact. But like, we might have a couple defensemen out there that we can end up trading, and I don't see us moving. I don't see us acquiring anything. It's like, hey, if this team is going to overachieve, let's overachieve together. You guys did it together. Like, what point does it have bringing in a Tarasenko like the Rangers did last year? Like, how does that mess with stuff? And I think it's okay just to like not necessarily be a buyer or a seller per se. Maybe you make a couple minor moves, but I'm okay with that. I don't think you need to be like a dramatic player one way or the other during the deadline.
Right. I mean, I'll be honest, this is probably the first time, and I can't tell you how long we actually have some comments rolling in. I mean, there's some interesting questions. Ted here.
Dad?
No.
It looks like Twitter's now linking up so we can get the Twitter comments. That's big.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a guy, Ted, just asked if Columbus is making everybody available at this point too, aside from Fantilli, which obviously makes sense. I mean, their number one defenseman, who is it? Warrenski? Is he healthy?
Pro-Rob. No, it's Pro-Rob.
According to who?
Bringing back the Pride Night.
Right. I mean, I think, and I might be able to answer this for everybody, but like, much to Matt Casey's point, we're not giving up assets at this point. Like, standing pat is the best way to do it. I think that more in and of itself would create and harbor a good locker room, because hey, we've been winning together, we've been overachieving together, let's continue to do that moving forward. That just builds a stronger core, so that when they are ready, it's like, okay, let's do this. And then you don't have to necessarily get rid of and have a roster turnover of 5-6 people in an off season. You can add just 1-2 pieces every single year, and then boom, you've got a team in a couple years that's ready to roll.
Well, the beautiful thing is the Flyers, for the first time since I can remember, they're dealing from a position of strength where it's like they don't need to do anything. It's not like trading away JVR just for, please, give me a 6th-round pick so I can at least show the fans that I got something out of it.
Trades are hard.
The calculation
algorithm wasn't working.
Anybody that's any team that approaches Briere could just go, well, I really have no interest or need to trade this person right now unless you wow me.
Right. And that could end up being the case. I mean, if a team really wants somebody like a Sealer, like a Walker, Ristolainen's name's been thrown out there. If they really want a guy like that, and Briere's going to play coy and just say, no, don't really need to right now. Think about it. You're a GM that really wants that guy. You're coming back with a better offer.
The other thing that I just want everybody to keep in mind too is so theoretically, if we were to trade for draft picks right now, which okay, I get it. Like, we're there. What do we have? 2 in the first round this year. Do we have a second this year? I know we traded seconds like for the next decade, but those draft assets I think are great, and it's great for the long term, but like, people got to realize, like, we won't see the fruits of that for probably 4 years.
Right.
And that's like the harsh reality that like, there's not a lot of players that get drafted that jump right into the NHL and have a huge impact. And so I think that there's like a misevaluation at times of of stocking the draft picks and
Right.
only doing that. I'm not saying you don't do
Right.
it, but you got to do it in combination with other moves in there to strengthen your team with veterans and middle-aged guys too.
And
So-
you got
so
that
as
on
of-
its way.
As
I'm
of
sorry,
right now,
Hoagie.
we have 2 first-round picks. We have the second-round pick for not signing Jay O'Brien, thank
Mhm.
God, and then we have a conditional pick, but that depends on Columbus deciding if they want to make it a 2024 or 2025 pick after the 2024 first round. So it's all up to Columbus.
Interesting.
And considering how bad they are right now, they'll probably elect to
keep it.
the pick.
Right.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, we kind of strayed away from what we really wanted to tackle here tonight. But it's worth discussing, especially at this point, because we're getting to Christmas, obviously. For those of you that celebrate, it's the holiday season. For those of you that don't,
It's
and
December 25th. We're getting
it's
to
just-
December 25th.
we're getting to December 25th, usually marked on a majority of people's calendars for one reason or another. But this team's in a playoff spot. And, we talked about it at Thanksgiving. What is it? 80-something% of teams in a position, yada, yada, yada. They're, I think, fifth in the Eastern Conference, if I'm not mistaken. One of the top teams in the Eastern Conference at this point.
And their
And the
strength
odds
of
of getting-
schedule's been pretty damn tough considering,
Yep.
And they've stood up to the test. So, I mean, part of me is still waiting for this team to kind of take that plunge off the cliff. But part of me is like, I don't know if that's actually going to happen,
Right. I mean, I think it's a team that legitimately has a chance at this point. I also look at the standings and go, so do so many other teams.
Right.
Like Casey, I think it was Casey that said all it takes is one bad week and all of a sudden you've gone from second to sixth.
Yeah.
But I do think like right now, what about this team tells you that they're not at least a legitimate playoff contender, right? At least for a position. They've earned that right as of now.
Right.
I think it's tougher, I think, for us as fans and people who follow the team maybe a bit closer than normal that have seen how bad they've been the past couple of years to bring ourselves to say, okay, like this is a good team because we're so used to this team being mediocre.
We're battered fans, and
Right.
like I don't want to make light of that, but like we're basically, like the scene in Happy Gilmore where he's like, "Fine, leave. I don't need you." Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm
baby.
sorry,
I'm
baby.
just a kid." Like that's what we are. We're like we're the girlfriend that Happy Gilmore talks trash to in there. Like he keeps on promising the world to us, but I think at the very least, this is the first time since pre-pandemic times that 2019, 2020, where I do have similar feels to that, where I'm like, okay, are we really going to keep going? God damn, we are.
Right.
And
Train keeps rolling.
it's been tough from a scheduling standpoint, and I'm not saying it gets easier. Where I go and where I have a tough time believing still is I want to see us take down New Jersey on Tuesday. I want to see it. I don't know when we play the Rangers again. I don't think it's till like March or something like that. Like,
They've got to conquer that.
Hoagie and I were both at that game, and I was like, oh, we were like crap. Like, and so it's like, okay, we're playing these games, and I'm not saying they're meaningless, but it's like I want us to really, really step up. Boston, New Jersey, New York, the Islanders still, because the Islanders, I feel like have had our number. Like,
Right.
I want us to really.
Don't say that too loud.
Well, they've also positioned themselves to be able to say that the benchmark right now is the Rangers. Like that's the one team that every time you play them, you're either going to get a point or you're taking both of them. Like that should be. Well, obviously, those are the three options there, Hoagie. Christ,
Well,
but
lately against the Rangers, we've been losing all of them.
Captain.
well, I get that. But what their mentality should be is that they should be looking to take at the very least 1 point from that.
Yep.
Now, I can deal with an overtime loss given the fact that they just drop the ball every single time they play the Rangers lately. However, if they can topple that and take home a win against New York, don't care where it's at. New York, Philly, it doesn't matter. That right there will convince me that this team is 100% for real and could make a push to not just get into the playoffs, but even potentially make a run.
So next game against the Rangers is February 24th. It's a 3:00 game on a Saturday. So that place is going to be filled with some Rangers fans
In Philly?
and Philly.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, I don't know. That could be if we are still at a point. Because what's
Right.
that? 3 weeks before the trade deadline or something like that. I mean, the trade deadline's like early March usually, and
We're still in second place in the division. I mean, that's
right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Christ, I would go. I'd still go. I'm ready to be hurt again.
Well, I think too, right? It's like I think for so long, it's like not only has it been bad hockey, but there was just never a sense of direction. You felt like nobody had bought into any sort of coaching staff. Where it's like now all of a sudden you've got this front office that has a clear plan. You have a coach that has a clear plan. You have older players that have bought in. You have younger players that have bought in. You've got kids in the farm system that seem to be playing well. You have a star, potentially 2 stars in the making in Mishkov and Gauthier. Like all the stars seem to be aligning. And I know that all it takes is one thing to happen and that just it's gone. But it's like you can't help but be excited because we're winning and the future still looks bright.
Right.
So we're winning with a team that we are not supposed to be winning with.
Right.
And
Exactly.
What a luxury.
I think that's what.
I want to bring up. John mentioned Gauthier and Mishkov. I think come trade deadline, we're going to be playing a little bit of what Port said, addition by subtraction. If Briere can ship out one of these guys on offense, who says that Gauthier is not ready and is coming up to the team to play some playoff hockey for us when the time comes? I think that's a feasible option. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you've seen
forwards, defense.
Would Gauthier be eligible for the playoffs though? Because he has to be on the roster by a certain date, if I'm not mistaken.
He can sign his entry level contract and join the team right away.
So they basically eat a year of his contract.
Done.
Huh?
Yeah, they would eat a year of his contract, but I think he has to be done with his collegiate year.
And NCAA has to be done.
Yeah,
Bobby Brink 2 years ago finished this college season, won the championship, signed the next day or two, and was with the team.
So, the Frozen Four is like March 16th or something like that, isn't it?
Right.
It's pretty early.
It's usually mid-March.
Huh. I'd be interested to know when that deadline is in regards to when a player needs to be on the roster to be eligible for playoffs, because I know maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves talking about playoffs, but a very interesting point.
Talking about Gauthier in the playoffs, it seems like we're getting a little.
I'm not saying yes, that's the route to go. It's just an interesting talking point because it kind of fits into their plan of how this franchise is going.
I think we also got to be really careful, man. That Gauthier coming in, it's like yes, we have great expectations for him, but playing at the NHL is a totally different level. And also, if you're really a contender and we're at the razor thin margin that we are at right now, which I'm anticipating is going to maintain in the standings, are you going to put him in? If you're playing well, do you put him in? I mean, I'd rather have him go down to the Phantoms and do it. And it's like, okay, you get acclimated, then you keep rolling. But
I think as long as not every game matters at that point, right? I think you can put him in. But you're right, Casey. And I think the biggest problem with the Ron Hextall era was it was all based off of anticipation. It was all eventually these 6 million and 3 draft picks are all going to turn into pros 15 years from now, and we're going to be really, really good. Right?
What was the terrible number 1 that he got?
Rubstov.
Jesus Christ.
Rubstov, yeah. What a pick.
But I mean, so much of those draft picks where it was how many of them actually turned into something?
Sure.
Or even the Phil Myers of the world where it was
the undrafted free agent that everybody's like, oh man, how did he not get drafted? Right. Now we know why.
But he has been playing with Tampa though. So
I mean, okay. Whatever.
But up a lot.
They can't afford anybody else, buddy.
Right.
True. In my mind, I'm prioritizing Gauthier's development over whether he's going to help a playoff push or not. I understand the importance of the playoffs. I completely get that. However, seeing the trajectory of this team and knowing that we're pushing for being a perennial contender versus just a flash in the pan like this could be,
right?
I'm going to prioritize if it's going to help his development by getting him time in the NHL, 100%. If it's going to help it better by putting him in the AHL for more consistent game time and getting him a bit more minutes, expanded role, whatever, see him on the power play, all for that. But it should boil down to prioritizing his development as opposed to saying, all right, he was highly skilled in college. He's going to do great in the pros. You don't know that. You absolutely don't know that. Could, but he might not. So prioritize that over a playoff push with him included in it.
Am I doing totally revisionist history here? I'm the biggest college phenom that I can think about coming out of college and making a huge impact is Ghost.
Nope.
And
from the Flyers.
Or just for the Flyers, or
for the Flyers. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm saying for the Flyers.
Cale
Did he
Makar
come-
ringing his
yeah, I was
bell.
gonna say Cale Makar came right out of the championship and tearing it up in the playoffs.
No, I'm saying for the Flyers, but did he come out right after Union won, or was that the following year? 'Cause
I think he came the following year.
Okay, all right.
I think he may have signed, but I think he didn't come up until like it was a couple games into the season because I remember being there for his first goal.
Because that was an electric time where it was like Ghost winning overtime games, Ghost just bombing power.
Right.
He was freaking out the other night when
rookie
we played him. I
Street.
was like, oh god, no Ghost, don't score on us.
I mean, he's the kind of player too where it's like I just wish we had the right unit around him.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he is a good player. He's just a very specific kind of player.
Right.
Yeah. And I think there's a reason you're seeing him thrive elsewhere at
Right.
this point. But regardless, again, great conversation. However, we've got a little bit of an agenda to it here too. We want to talk about the success in the shootout. Can't believe I'm saying it because let's be honest. What was the stat, Matt Casey? You remember from?
Oh God, I think we were 72 and 181 or something. I don't know.
The way you dropped that so nonchalantly, like we wouldn't pick up on that. Like
off the top of my head,
I researched it before the episode, and then just during the episode, Matt Casey's like, "Yeah, we're like 59 and 150."
Just off the top of my head,
right? Like, oh, okay, yeah. But those don't matter at this point. This season, 3 shootouts, 3 wins. Urson, I believe, is responsible for 2 of them.
All three.
Urson, all 3. I'm staying by what I said. I don't care if Carter Hart's your goalie of record. Urson goes in the shootout. That's that. But wow,
Can you do that?
I don't
Put in a backup for a shootout.
I don't
They
think
did
so.
it in Mighty Ducks.
Yeah.
Julian Cat.
Someone touched on it. I don't know who. I don't know the rules. I'm not gonna say.
Carter
I
Hart
know
was
it.
just fake an injury. I'm
That
sick.
might be how you get back around it. Honestly,
What do you think Carter Hart is sick from? By the way, did you see? They were like, "Oh, we finally found out what I'm sick," but they wouldn't say it. I was like,
I would imagine
being outperformed by Sam Urson.
I would imagine it's what Ryan Paling had when they went on that road trip.
I think somebody gave him like bad sushi in Arizona. They're like, yeah, let's go out for a sushi lunch in Arizona, the furthest place from an ocean.
Little
Oh,
tempeh tempura.
They were out partying in Nashville the whole time too. So
He's hungover. Let's be honest. Can't handle his booze. But I'll start with Hoagie because I started with John last time. But are you seeing a difference between our shootout, our lack of success, and now, like whether it's mindset, personnel, like what's the biggest? No shit. Shut up. What's the biggest difference you're seeing aside from the fact that we're winning them?
probably the fact that we have newer shooters that goalies haven't really seen. I mean, Coots hasn't taken a shootout in 2 years, so he has new bags of tricks. You have young guys as in Bobby Brank and Tyson Fortune, those types of guys that haven't taken them. So goalies study these types of plays, so they're not used to it. But I mean, we also have a stud with Urson that he likes the shootouts. He studies them. He
sadistic MFer.
Right, like
Love having.
he says he does them after every practice, right? With Farabee and a bunch of them, and I don't know. He likes to shut it down.
Yeah. What about you, Casey?
Yeah, I'm not going to say Hart's bad at the shootouts. I don't think we've seen him in the shootout this year.
Right.
But like obviously there is a difference. And you could put that Islanders game of just like, wow, what an amazing goalie duel between he and what's his name? Shesterkin.
Sorokin.
Jesus. Can't keep him straight.
Russian.
But 3 in a row, and the only goal I think he's given up is to arguably the best shootout guy of our generation, who
Captain
like
America himself,
who just
juked
I mean,
him
it
out
wasn't
of his
even
jock.
close. I mean, that was
just disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's it. But you're also getting a little bit of run support, not a ton, but we can also throw. We're throwing Brink at people, and I think Brink's been solid in the 2. He had 1 preseason, and then this past shootout with the missed poke check.
That was beautiful.
You know, you have Farabee, you have Atkinson, you have Konechny, you have Forster, you have Coots. Like, you actually have people to do this instead of like, okay, we have Claude Giroux and Claude Giroux.
And as of recent, Scott Lawton, for whatever reason.
What?
Got to name drop Lawton, don't you?
He was like our best shootout player over the past 3 seasons since Drew left.
Yeah.
Not hello, Bobby.
Like, I can also see them randomly being like, hey, Cam York, you're in on the shootout.
Right.
Like, you know, but it's, you know, you're getting, if you get a goal in the shootout at this point, there's a very good chance that Urson's going to shut the rest of it down.
Right. Absolutely. All right, John.
Well, I think everybody's saying it without saying it. Like, you are able to play with a lot more confidence when you know that you have a goalie there that's able to bail you out. Right? You're able to take more risks. You're able to try something different that maybe a goalie hasn't seen before. Right? You just have a little bit more pep in your step when you know it's like, okay, if I miss this, I can count on Urson to bail me out here. Right? Like, there are so many times throughout the years where you go and watch a shootout attempt and you're like, well, shit, I could have done that.
Right.
You know?
I can whip on that. Great.
What, like Anthony Mantha's shot, like, what were you doing, dude? Get a shot off.
Right. Or it's like, it looks like it's going to be fancy, but they just like chuck it to the glove. And you're like, all right, you know, I mean, I think a theme with this team, whether it be in the shootout or just 5-on-5, you know, we won't say the power play, but like, they are confident. They're more confident now because they feel like they have a goalie that is able to bail them out. They're able to take more risks and things like that.
Right. And with that goalie too, the fact that Urson, not just in the shootout, but he's been playing incredibly well as of late. His last 5 games, even. I mean, it's like a .937 save percentage. His goals allowed is under 2 at this point, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Or he's at least allowing less than 2 goals a game at this point. I know we joke about it, and we did joke about it in our group chat, but is there, I don't want this to be just, you know, I don't want to be a sensationalist here, but is there some sort of competition here where we might end up seeing Urson overtake Carter Hart as the primary starter?
I'm going to chime in on this because I'm thinking about it just in short term in the next week. I don't know how you don't start Urson against New Jersey on Tuesday. The guy just had a shutout.
Ride the hot hand.
How do you not start him? And Hart was, you know, clean enough to actually serve as the backup, which is great news. But Urson's just, he's making a very, very tough decision, which is a awesome position for us to be in. Don't get me wrong.
And we know Tortorella likes him. I mean, he's been very vocal about his liking.
And he likes Hart too. Like, I don't think he has any qualms with either of the goalies. But I just don't see how you are going to sit Urson after being like, all right, you just, you let up a softie in Nashville. That was tough. But
a rough one.
You know, you just did a shutout against the Caps, a team that's nipping at your heels in the standings.
That was the Red Wings.
Or sorry, the Red Wings. What was the Caps? That was 3-3.
That was the 4-3 shutout.
4-3.
Hoagie was really offended that you got it wrong there. He's
like, look on his face. He's like, how dare you?
What?
So confused.
Well, I'm not ready to say we have a controversy, but I think there's decisions to be made, and I'm just hoping that it's like, okay, instead of like 75% Carter, maybe it's 66% Carter. Like, you know, like from a start standpoint, and maybe
what's the precursor? Like, what's the precursor to a controversy?
Well, honestly, though, like I think,
1B.
But I
like
think
a
like
dilemma,
a controversy. Maybe? But I think like controversy has such a negative connotation to it. But it's like we have a goalie controversy here. The controversy is that we have 2 really good goalies right now, and it's trying to divide the time equally, right? And
it's like what Boston has, you know, like. But Boston's
the greatest problem to have right now,
right?
You know, in terms of like long term, I think that's a deeper conversation for when we have a better idea, right? This is still a small sample size for Urson,
right? But there's still decisions to be made on Carter Hart too when it comes up to his contract,
right. I do think like if Urson continues playing like this, it allows Danny Briere to be a little bit more like, well, you know what? I'm not ready to give you that kind of money, Hart, because I have
Right.
this, and that's going to cost
Right.
me a lot less. But this is a good problem to have.
100%.
You never have this
Absolutely.
problem.
No, I mean, the last time I think we thought we had it was when we had Mason and Neuwirth, and look how that turned out. Like, well, think about it. You got
I
a
know.
Calder Cup winning or
I
a
know.
Calder Trophy winning guy, and then Neuwirth coming in as a pretty solid backup. And then we've all find out that Neuwirth's made of glass. Mason's even more of a head case than you'd think any goalie would be, and it just imploded.
And for some reason, starting them for 11 straight games and then starting the other one for 11 straight games just wasn't good strategy.
I think the last time we had this this controversy was Brizgalov and a shooter tutor.
Oh, humongous big.
How does the
just
shooter
stopped the
tutor save so much?
He doesn't move.
Track of the puck.
How am I supposed to see it through the screens?
Oh no,
Oh boy.
I would have saved it, but I didn't see it.
I couldn't see it.
This is the same guy that ducked from a shot that went in.
Right.
Like I still remember that very clearly. Oh
It was against
boy.
Pittsburgh, wasn't it?
Probably.
That was
Dude,
the
who was the
beginning of the
one?
end.
It was Mike Smith. Mike Smith was the one that always used to headbutt him. Like I remember,
Yeah.
I think it was Mike Smith. Or Czech Monic did too. R.I.P.
Oh yeah. R.I.P. Chuck
But-
Connick.
Right. But so I mean, I'm still not 100% sold on Urson the starter over Hart moving
Mhm.
forward. However, absolutely, you ride that hot hand. Like
Mhm.
that was one of the first articles I think I ever wrote at PSN, the hot hand fallacy and just believing in it. How many times do you see a goalie get hot in the playoffs and take their team to a Stanley Cup? It's
Right.
happened with Boston. I believe it's happened with
Happened with Las Vegas last year.
happened with Vegas, happened with Chicago. Like you see it all the time.
Hashtag Michael Lighton. Huh?
Michael Layton. You see it in Philadelphia. Holy
And,
shit.
and it's like,
Until it wasn't.
and when you have everything going for you, when you're a team that's winning, then when you shouldn't be, it's like you don't want to do anything to mess it up, right?
Right.
So it's like you give Urson the shot because Carter Hart's been out. He goes into New Jersey. If he puts together a clunker, everybody's like, oh, why'd you go and do this? But it's like, say Urson loses a 3-2 game, then you go, all right, Hart, you go in that, the next game.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
Well, regardless, we have Jersey Tuesday, and then we have a Thursday, Friday back to back. So like it's a tough schedule to balance.
Urson, all three of them.
And you have
Hart's
you
gonna
have
be sick again and
Nashville,
can't get back up.
Nashville home, and then away the next night at
In
Detroit.
Detroit, yep.
Detroit's not, what is it, an hour and a half flight? It's not like the end of the
Right.
world,
Right.
but
Right.
still,
Yeah.
that's a tough call.
It's still a lot of travel.
I wonder if they give Hart the start the first night against Nashville
Right.
and then give
tell
Urson the
to
game
do it
against.
again.
Right.
Do it again.
Yeah. They did the same thing with Anaheim. After Anaheim shelled him, they were like, all right, Sam, get back out there and
Right.
and rewrite the story. And he did.
That success story didn't last long with Anaheim, by the way.
No.
And then, God damn, I'm looking at after Christmas schedule because we're off
Yep.
until the. Are we back to the Disney on Ice thing?
Oh, it's
Yep.
awesome.
No.
Oh boy.
28th
Another week
in
of
Vancouver,
Flyers
10
hockey
o'clock.
that doesn't
29th.
exist to me.
29th
Oh.
in Seattle, 10 o'clock.
Oh
And
God.
then we have New Year's Eve hockey. I love New Year's Eve hockey. It's so much fun.
And
8
it's
o'clock.
New Year's
doable. It's
Eve.
8 o'clock. It's
I had
not
a
like
wedding on New Year's Eve.
That's actually not bad. I've actually come around on the wedding on New Year's Eve topic. It's like, what else am I
Yeah.
doing? I'm watching
Partying.
hockey on New Year's Eve. I'm watching hockey.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yeah, it's true. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just a loser, but I don't. Regardless, back to hockey here. I'm getting
I'm
excited. I'm throwing my
pen
pen.
on New Year's Eve, man.
Dude, I'll be exhausted too. In bed.
I'm
Sing Old
looking
Lang
right
Syne
now.
before I fall asleep. Yeah, when you sing Old Lang Syne, does it ever turn into Grand Old Flag? Because I'll just be like, may all acquaintance be forgot. Keep your eye on the Grand Old Flag.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
What in
Is that
the
a
hell are you
Civil War
talking about?
song? Like, what is that?
Old Lang Syne is the New Year's Eve song.
No, I know
Yeah,
that
we know
one.
Old Lang Syne.
No,
You
New
don't
York,
know
New York's
Grand
the New
Old
Year's
Flag?
Eve song.
You're a grand old flag. You're a high flying flag, and forever in peace.
said-
I'm gonna
never
refrain from commenting
You're
Yep.
the land
right now.
of lo- the land
He
of
said
love.
something else there.
I love the beauty and the brain.
Oh boy.
All right, I'll keep
We
going.
went from like 10
Yeah.
viewers to
If
2
we
real
had
quick.
3 viewers, they are gone.
Right.
Every heart.
I mean, we were up to about 10 or 11 or 12 and
Yep.
a fraction of that now. Thanks a lot, John.
You're welcome.
Thank you very
So-
much.
Back to the goalie talk here. With Urson playing so well, I mean, obviously you're going to have those back-to-backs like Hoagie had said with the schedule coming up towards the end of this upcoming week. If let's just play a little bit of hypothetical. What's it going to take for Carter Hart to basically, I don't want to say dethrone because again, that's sensationalizing it, but like get his spot back in regards to being the main starter here? Is it going to take just an absolute clunker? Is it going to take Hart just having a great game and then being like, okay, the spot's yours again?
I mean, I think the spot is his
I
regardless.
agree.
I think
I'm saying
once
like
he's
there's,
fully healthy, it's his. I mean,
Yeah.
but they're going to ride Urson right now. They
Yeah,
should.
I say put Urson against the Devils, and then I
Split 'em.
mean maybe play
Right.
against Nashville, and then let Hart take the rest of them. I mean, you have.
Right.
I mean, Vancouver's good, Seattle's good, so you're kind of gonna want Hart out there. Well,
Right. I think it's
again,
like
they don't have to split those games.
riding Urson might not be like the right term because it's like we're just saying play him against New Jersey. Like we're
Right.
It's like riding him. It's just
Well,
one more game.
no.
I mean, technically, it's riding. It's his fifth start.
You're riding
Sure,
a hot
but
hand
also
there,
other
technically.
circumstances. I mean, Carter Hart, had
Right,
the
I mean,
shores.
All right, now theoretically, what happens if Hart goes in against Nashville on Thursday
Mm,
and has a clunker?
trade him.
Right.
Like he's done.
Like, you
Like,
know what? Hard
and
Carter,
then
stay
Ready
here.
for Christmas.
Then things get, and granted, the scheduling it allows it, so it's like, all right, Ursa would probably get the start the next night anyway, and then you have a week-long break. But like that's gonna start driving in if and this is all what ifs. Like if Hart
Right.
can't get it together, and not that he's been bad, but the health thing freaks me out a little bit.
It's peculiar that he's been sick this often. Like, I'm not a doctor, but like it's just strange. I get it's that time of year. I'm feeling under the weather, Christ, but like how he's missed, I think, 2 or
in mouth.
might be. I don't know. It was
Coxsackie.
Coxsackie.
Oh, worst.
Jinx.
I mean, I've never had it.
An
but
amazing
bring it.
disease name.
Oh,
Right. But no, I just it's a little peculiar to me in regards to Carter Hart being sick. And
Reagan had that one time. She looked like the kid from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Where they're like, ridiculous.
like the hills have eyes.
Back to this, I do think that like Hart is going to have every benefit of the doubt to like
Right.
maintain his position, but he's got it. I think it's actually kind of good that he feels probably some like friendly competition of like, okay, like I got to perform because the guy behind me is coming up on me hot right now.
Right.
and I think
100%.
I think that's what it is. It's friendly competition. It's not Urson.
That's what you
like,
hope at least.
Like Urson's, I think Hart knows that Urson's not gunning for his job, and like
Right, they're both there to help
right,
the team win.
they're both to do what they're good at.
I'm gonna do
win.
what I gotta do.
Yeah,
One of my favorite things to do because I'm weird is like after a game, after a win, watching
Easy.
like get a belt. No, after a win, watching the reaction of the guys as they like interact with each other, and I always want to watch the goalies. So I'm like, oh, are
Right.
they pumped for each other?
The
or
Swayman
not?
and Allmark had their thing with
Right.
Boston. Yeah.
And so, and there's grins ear to ear, and
Yeah.
it's usually the last embrace is
Mhm.
usually the goalie to goalie one, and so I don't know. I see no evidence from my keen eye of any sort of unfriendliness, but it's still there's one goalie out there. That's it. It's not like you have you don't have 12 forwards out there. You have
Pull
one
it forward, put the goalie in. You got 2 of them now.
Yeah.
I think we're so programmed too. Like I do it all the time where it's like, you just can't help but think about, all right, well, what is this going to mean for down the road? And who are we going to trade? And what are we going to do with this? It's like, stop.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
We're winning.
Pump
We've
the
got
brakes.
2 goalies who are playing really well. Like, just shut the up. Like, just let it be. You
Right.
know?
Are you guys waiting? I mean, back to the Disney on Ice thing. Are you guys waiting for this thing? Like, I'm still like, oh God.
It's usually
dreading it.
the Christmas throwdown where we just get
Like we're playing well, and then all of a sudden we have a week off, and it's like, we've lost our mojo.
Like great timing. Great timing.
Well, that week doesn't exist for me. I don't watch because I can't watch the games. They're too late for me.
Yeah.
You're on Christmas break anyways, dude.
I still have a kid that's going to get me up at 4:30 in the morning, want to go feed the chickens and the cows we don't have.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, really?
Sounds like a personal problem to me.
Right.
Come on, Dad. The farm needs tended to.
Like, yes, our 300 square foot backyard where we keep all the cows are grazing back here. Oh, love that. Yeah, our kid comes and runs out when I'm taking the dog out, and he's like running out socks. It's raining, and he's like, "Dad, come in for breakfast." I'm like, "Get back inside! What are you doing?"
What else you get inside?
All right, do we have anything else we got to talk about? Because it is creeping up on bedtime.
Oh, you puss.
Hey,
You weenie. No, nothing pressing aside from the week ahead here in regards to who we've got this upcoming week. Hoagie touched on it. You got Hoagie, take it away here because I can't remember.
You got Tuesday in Jersey against Devils. Then we go back home against the Predators. And then Friday in Detroit on the back end of the back-to-back.
Okay.
Really
No weekend
hurt,
games,
didn't it, buddy.
No weekend.
Christmas. What am I doing?
Huh?
So
That really hurt you, didn't
I
it?
had-
Like
I had
that
one
looked like it struggled. That was a struggle for
A
you.
little bit.
Yeah. All right. You did a good job.
all right. Well, Hoagie, follow up on that with a prediction here. What do you think? How do you think they're going to do against these teams?
I'm going 2-1. They'll probably drop another egg against Jersey.
So the point streak ends.
Yeah.
Okay. Casey?
I'm going. I'm not going to do 1-1-1. I'm going to go 2-1 as well. No, you know what? I'm going 2-0-1.
I knew
Go
you were
2-0-1.
That's what
Doing
I was
it.
going to do. Wasn't I? No. I was going to
John?
Okay, we don't all have to be different, guys.
go. But we all have to be different. We all have to express ourselves.
How can I
mean,
express myself
is
when I'm
a
saying the
safe
same thing as
space.
someone else?
I'm not gonna give you a record. I think they're gonna lose in overtime to the Devils. I think they're gonna beat Nashville, and I think it's gonna reverse in Detroit. I think Detroit's gonna end up winning like a 1-0, 2-0 game.
So you're not going to give us a record, but you're going to tell us how they do.
Right. So
And
then
the
you can
results
do the
of
math
those
on your own.
games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 1-1-1.
Yeah.
You coward. So I guess the only other
But you don't have to
option
go
here-
the other way though. You don't have to just
no,
like
if you let me-
0-3 just to be
No.
different.
I mean,
There's
he can
really
go 3-0.
There's a couple different options here. All that they end up
there's
losing
more.
more than they win. I'm not going to
There's
say they're
more
going to
than
go
that.
3-0
We don't need to go through all of the different options.
They're not going to go 3-0. I can tell you that. I think they're going to go 1-0-2. There it is. Yeah.
Who's the win?
Who's the win? Jersey. Just because.
Wow.
I don't like them.
I mean,
like them.
the last game against Jersey was a pretty decent game. We
And now
lost it-
Mackenzie Blackwood's going.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, we still
Who's
have
even
our
Jersey
their
fans.
goalie for New Jersey?
it's that
Schmid?
kid, Schmid.
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 Is he done being Captain
The guy
Hook's
from
first mate? Yeah.
All right, hold on. I had one more thing before we jump off here.
All
right.
yeah.
So, in honor of our kids and Hoagie, if you have kids at some point, like their Christmas wish list, what is our wish list for the Flyers? What's our Christmas wish for the Flyers?
Recon mission to get Michkov out of Russia.
Ooh, so you want Mitch up early?
Why not, right?
Okay.
Like
John,
by
Bring him
Christmas.
on over.
What do I want? I mean, are we just? I thought we were going to take it a little more seriously, so I was trying to think of something
You
realistic.
think I wasn't being serious? What Flyers fan doesn't want that
It
kid
looks
over
like,
here right
looks
now?
like Derek's been growing the beard so he can go to Ukraine first and then cross the border to get Mishkov for the entire franchise.
Well, you just blew my cover. Thanks a lot,
Wow.
Hoagie.
This might be a little bit like pessimistic, and I don't actually mean it to be, but like I want our young kids to be playing in a way where it's like, okay, we're all right getting rid of a guy like an Atkinson or a Lawton or a Ristolainen for
Mhm.
major assets because we're able to fill in the gap
Right.
with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I like it.
Hoagie, what do you got?
I'm going to go.
Candy canes.
I wish for this year we have 3 30-goal scores.
3.
Okay.
Konechny's well on his way.
Yeah, I mean we have Konechny, Farabee, and Tippett all with 10+.
Casey, we all know you want more Ice Girls.
I want the Delta Dental Ice Girls to get the T-shirt cannon. And no,
They did bring it back. I was
And
surprised
fire
by
it
that.
right at Rocky Thompson.
no, you kind of stole my thunder. I wish that the power play would ramp it. I'm not saying be elite. I'm saying be serviceable.
Consistent.
Like right now we
score every now
I'm not
and
even
then.
saying give us a goal every 3 games. Like that's what I need.
Is
And
there a loophole
thirds.
where we can just elect to go on the penalty kill every time we have a power
that's the
play?
thing. We get probably 3 chances a game on the penalty
Oh,
kill.
that's
We
crazy.
get 1 on the power play. That's it.
We play better on the man disadvantage.
Right.
Have we scored more shorthanded goals than power play goals this year?
God.
I feel like that is a
Um,
serious conversation to have.
Hold on. I'll have that
I
answer.
doubt
for
it,
you.
but
Okay.
it might be close. I think we
Right.
have
At the
7
very
short
least, it's
already.
close.
We have 10 power play goals to 7 shorthanded goals.
Ooh, that is way too close.
That is net
Way.
3.
But to be fair, over the past couple of games, like we haven't really gotten as many power play chances in the past couple of games, at least.
No
But
Oh,
excuses.
sure, whatever you say.
I'm just
Hoagie.
saying, to be fair,
Then draw the penalties then.
But I think for this
exactly.
for this team, realistically, for us to get out of like la la land of like, okay, we're competitive to like, okay, we actually might make a run. The power play has to do something.
Mhm.
Yep.
There's more to that too, because there were some comments Tortorella made about that, or comments that he forewent and didn't make about Rocky Thompson and all that. But we could get into that.
Thompson made comments.
Thompson made those comments. Well, Tortorella
It was
basically
like-
declined to make comments about it and was like, yeah, and then Rocky Thompson came
I think
out.
Thompson wished that he wants them to figure it out. The players on the ice to figure it out in jail before they start
Right.
blowing.
Which is
it up again.
understandable, but that's why we have freaking preseason.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Given like there's
Do you
new
think, like-
personnel, sure, but like that time period, that grace period is over.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
been over.
Hear me out for a minute. Do you think that maybe Satan approached Tortorella and was like, it's the shootouts or the power play?
Oh,
Choose one.
Sold his soul for some shootout wins.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's got the devil and the angel on this one. It's like power play. Come on, everybody. And it's like shootouts. Screw them.
It's the,
The
most
fans want
exciting
flash.
portion of
The
hockey.
fans want flash.
And that's literally like his worst enemy. The shootouts because he hates the flash.
The devil's shootout.
That's
Oh,
an
boy.
interesting. All right. Theoretically, let's take that for a walk for a second. Theoretically, I'd rather take the shootout because I feel like we've I'm gonna extend it to shootout / overtime. So extra time wins.
Nope, can't do that. Shootout or
Shootout
Yeah.
only. Okay. All right.
Shootout
Come on,
only.
Satan doesn't play with like
Yeah,
middle ground
there's no
here,
caveats
That's-
that
yeah,
benefit
right.
us.
That's 3 extra points that we've gotten this year
right?
in a shootout. That's the
It
difference
is.
between second place and what? Fourth place?
Fourth or fifth.
But
yeah.
capitalizing on the power play means that we may avoid shootouts and win in regulation. Devil's
Well, you could
advocate.
also score on the power play and still lose games.
Well,
If you win the
obviously.
but if you win the shootout, you win.
Okay,
It's
that's a guaranteed win. But
indefinite,
how many games go to a shootout every year, like a percentage wise?
Well, we've had 3
Maybe
already.
that was part of the deal
3 in the
with
last 2.
Satan. Satan was like, I'll guarantee you at least 10 shootout opportunities.
Okay. Well, look,
Not
I'll
that
tell you
screwed
what.
Christmas episode like a Satan how to.
When I pray to him tonight, I'll ask him, and we'll see what we can get.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well,
Pod Street Bullies are back.
Oh, Satan. Happy
Lord.
Merry Christmas, buddy.
thinking of a play on words to incorporate our podcast with either the devil,
Satan.
Satan, whatever.
Did you ever see the
Can't do
Saturday
it.
night?
Satan or Santa? Satan or Santa?
Satan or Santa.
You ever see this Saturday Night Live skit where what's his name is Satan?
John Lovitz.
No, Will Ferrell.
Oh,
Oh God.
He's like, damn the devil.
Nope. I have seen Little Nicky though.
Oh, my kid got a haircut like little Nicky the other day. And I was like, yeah, we're going back to sport clips and having that.
Like, buzz it now. Buzz it. All right. Well, before it gets way too carried away, which we're already there, let's be honest. Big shout out to our affiliates here over at Flyers High and Wide. They're on X at Flyers HW. Same goes for our buddies over at the 5 Minute Major podcast. They're on X over at 5 Min Major Pod. And aside from that, folks, we got 3 games coming up this week. We'll break them down here next week as well. And until then, folks, have a wonderful holiday season and go Flyers.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Holidays.
You know, that app on your phone that your wife thinks is porn.
Holidays.